welcome to Inside Your County Government, a podcast that brings you an inside look at the people and events in and around county government that shape our Charles County. I'm your host, Brent Huber. This episode is part of our Inside Our Community series. County government works with associated agencies that play an important role in shaping our community. And over this series, we're going to be exploring what they do, why they're important, and how you can get engaged. Joining us today is Donna Retzlaff. Did I get it?
Close enough.
Okay.
Yes.
So you are the executive director of the Spring Dell Center, and you're going to talk about what Spring Dell does and how it impacts the community. Welcome, Donna.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So what is Spring Dell, and tell us about that.
So Spring Dell is a private nonprofit organization that's been in Charles County since 1967.
Wow.
Spring Dell started as a grassroots effort to support children who had very specific developmental needs and who weren't really a part of their school. And so we started supporting children in 1967, and we have just continued to grow ever since.
Wow.
In the early 80s, we took the transition to supporting adults with developmental disabilities because then children were integrated into their area schools for a full inclusion program. So now we have a whole array of services and supports. It's for people with developmental and intellectual disabilities who maybe need help with career assessment, skill development. Perhaps they need help with residential living, whether they want to live on their own with minimal supports or they need an agency such as ours to support them 24/7, and really helping them build their life within the community that they live, which in this case would be Charles County.
Wow. How many do you help?
So right now we support 175 plus
Wow.
adults with developmental disabilities that live in Charles County.
That live in Charles County. And talk a little bit more about how you help them.
So the way the system works right now is children, once they graduate from high school, they're eligible to receive supports in an adult program. So they could transition to a program such as Spring Dell's or one of the many other programs in the county. And once they elect to transition to an adult program, they'll come to our organization and then we'll assess them, support them, look at what their interests and their needs are, and seeing what type of supports their family need for them. And for the most part, they'll receive services Monday through Friday. Generally, it's during the day unless they're in employment, and then we work around their employment schedule. If it's residential supports and services they need, it will be where we'll look at the homes that we currently have to see where they might enjoy living. And if need be, we'll open a new home if we have, a number of residents who need a place to stay, and then provide the supports based on the level that they need. So over the years, it's really evolved into individualized services, not congregated settings, not one shoe fits everyone, because we all know that doesn't work.
Right.
And so to help them gain the greatest independence for their ability, we do individualized plans with each person that we support.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So when you say support, and you said something about housing and residence and jobs, do you help them get a job?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have an entire employment support services program that they'll go through for various assessments, internships, trials, just to kind of get an idea of what they might like to do and what they're good at. A lot of times people with developmental disabilities have only been exposed to what perhaps their family exposed them to or what a caregiver's exposed them to. So we try to open this and broaden this through a discovery process where we really meet and talk with the person and try to give them opportunities that they might not have normally thought about. And so opportunities are given to them based on their interest, and we try to help them broaden their interests so that they're not in traditional jobs that have always been thought about for people with developmental disabilities.
Right. So when you say you assess them, I mean, is that you've got employment opportunities lined up at this location and this location. It's kind of like try this out, try that out, try that out. What do you like? What works for you?
So we do that, and then at our location off of Radio Station Road, we have a number of different work opportunities that we try to do to assess what we think they might like or dislike. prior to COVID, we were very, very proud because 80% of our supports and services are being done in the community, because that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
Developing those community relationships with people and with businesses, which, by the way, our Charles County business community is phenomenal in supporting. I think the citizens in general, but we've really seen that outreach for people that we support with developmental disabilities. And so it's really sitting down and talking with them and trying different things. If somebody likes pets, for example, where are we going to go to give them that experience, whether it's caring for pets or whether it's learning about pets or working at PetSmart or in a location such as that? We may have someone who has talked about really loving children. Mm-hmm. And so how can we get them supported in a career that would be working with children?
Right.
It may not be your typical placement, but it's still going to be a placement that is a benefit to that employer. It's not about sympathy type placements at all. It's about that employer really getting the benefit of that person's ability and what they bring to their business.
Well, that's a benefit for everybody.
Everybody.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
I mean, you help them improve their skills. They're doing something that they enjoy doing, so they're going to, be more involved in it, and then you have the employer that benefits from somebody that's got a skill set that they're taking advantage of.
Absolutely.
So everybody kind of wins in that.
Yep.
Is that a different philosophy than from what it used to be back in 1967? I'm just kind of curious about that.
Absolutely. I mean, back then it was more about congregated settings.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was done through like a workshop type setting. Even when I began employment there right out of college, it was about workshop work. And where could you go to, for example, McCormick Spice and gain a contract where you could bring everything back to your center and produce that project.
Right.
And then people were paid what was called a piece rate based on the number of pieces they produced. All of that is totally changed now. There's no more subminimum wage. There's no more piece rate. And while today that sounds like a horrible way to work, that is what was available at that time, but
Right.
we have evolved into so much more now. Now everything is about an individual job, individual pay based on ability that the employer has decided, yes, this person brings value to my place of employment.
Right.
And so we're elated at that transformation over the last 15 years.
Wow. And it also includes basic life skill training too, I imagine, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Activities of daily living.
Yeah, they're out in the workforce.
Right.
They're getting paid.
Right.
Manage money,
It's interesting because just social etiquette or managing your finances and things like that, a lot of people in your general society need that as well. It's not just people with developmental disabilities. But it's interesting because a lot of times people think when we're working on those supports and services for them, they want them to do it perfectly. Well, they're not going to do it perfectly,
Right.
just as you and I don't do it perfectly.
No, we don't.
So,
we don't. But that also includes living. I mean, you set residents up for them?
Yes. So the homes we set up, we want them to feel like it's their home.
Mm-hmm.
They decorate it however they want.
Mm-hmm.
They do colors of whatever they want. We actually ask them, what color would you like your room?
Yeah.
And then the housing supports are dependent on the needs of the person who's there. So we have some homes that are total care. The residents require total care, hand over hand with everything.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they're not involved. If the
Right.
staff is preparing dinner, the resident in the home should be in the kitchen while they're preparing dinner. They're talking about what they're cooking, how they're doing it. They're letting them be involved to the level that they can be involved. So it should feel like their home. They'll be answering the phone, getting their mail, going grocery shopping, finding the church they want to attend, building friendships with their neighbors. That's ideally what you want, the same
Right.
you and I would have in our neighborhood.
Right.
The only difference you should see with the homes we might support is we might have a lift van outside. But other than that, we should look just like any other neighborhood home, and the services should feel the same as if you're living in your own home.
Absolutely. That gives them a sense of
Right,
independence,
right.
and wonderful.
Yep.
So, what are some of the success stories that have come out of Spring Dell in your time there? You got any?
There's a lot. I think of more recent success stories, though. If I were to generically talk about success, for our organization and the relationships and the reputation that we have built in the county as well as in the state has just been phenomenal to really watch that grow. And I think that growth has just been because it is so genuine, and it is truly about the person and the people, as well as the employees and the staff that are providing those supports. And because of that, we've had many accomplishments over the years. But I think the biggest accomplishment is really being a part of this Charles County community where we've seen the citizens grow with us and we've seen the business community grow with us.
That's awesome.
And so it's really hard to single out, particular people and businesses because it truly has just been this incredible, just county effort for us in watching the field grow for people and opportunities grow for people. Probably a really cool project that we're working on right now that we're very excited about, which has led to our growth, is our Career Pathways program, which we are very excited this past year to get funding through the Charles County Charitable Trust to help us get that started. But now for students that are leaving high school, they're now going to come directly to our Career Pathways program, which has a 9-month curriculum for employment exposure, employment opportunity, and employment choice. It doesn't mean at the end of that 9 months they're going to choose employment,
Right.
but now every student will be given that opportunity instead of being brought to a day program where that is not the sole focus. It's going to be a little challenge and a little growth for some parents, I'm sure, because they don't always think of their child with a developmental disability as growing up and really being able to work. But we're going to help them see the exposure we're going to give them and job opportunities that can be carved out specifically for their adult child and also maybe generate new interests that they didn't even realize their children had.
Wow.
So we're really super excited. We're finishing our first Career Pathways. This January, I think, was the curriculum part, and now they're in the internship. And then hopefully by May, the first 5 participants in that program will have jobs. So we're really excited about that.
Oh, that is exciting. That is exciting.
right.
Now, you mentioned the Charitable Trust.
Yes.
This whole series kind of came about as a result of discussions
Right.
and talks with the Charitable Trust. How does the Charitable Trust assist, and what other type of funding mechanism does Spring Dell have? 'Cause this
So,
obviously is not.
right, the funding
cheap.
mechanisms first is we are 80% state funded, pretty much, right around there. And then we have private contributions, we do fundraising, and we have 2 phenomenal resale stores called Hooks and Hangers.
Oh, wow.
And they're resale stores that we take a lot of pride in, and 100% of their proceeds come back to support our programs that are not fully funded by the state, because we are by no means fully funded by the state.
Right.
And then we're always looking for grant opportunities and other resources. And the Charitable Trust has been just instrumental for us for starting those projects that we know we need to infuse in what we're doing in order to grow our services and to offer greater opportunities for people with developmental and intellectual disabilities. And we support folks in the county with some of the most significant needs. And so our project opportunities often cost a bit more, higher line of equipment or adaptable equipment that's needed. And also, even more than that, it's just the brainstorming to come up with, for folks with very significant disabilities, how this can affect them growing and their independence. And so the Charitable Trust has just been that venue there for us each year that we know we can really take that project we want to launch, write that grant, and hope we get that money to start that project. And then we look to see how we can continue that year after year. We try not to go to them with a project that's just a start and stop.
Right.
It's something that's they're going to invest their money in our center, and then they're going to watch this project grow. We just did this past year with them. We put in, I don't remember the specific title of the entire grant because we always give it this title, but we brought in cooking classes, yoga, and what was called Let's Talk. It's not about therapy. Everybody thinks people with developmental disabilities need therapy. It wasn't. It was let's talk discussions.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about? What's important to you? And we know what's important to them is not important to somebody else, just if we were to have a discussion. So they helped us facilitate that project, and we were able to show them the data that showed folks with extreme disabilities, significant disabilities, finally showing a facial expression or a gesture or a loud vocalization, which meant that was important to them. To someone else, they might not know what that means. We know what that meant. So we were charting these very specific areas through this past year with them, and the outcomes were phenomenal. And so we were very excited to share that with them. Our grant from last year that we started, we're super excited about. It's a music therapy program, and it is really meant to target folks with very significant developmental disabilities. We know music makes all of us happy.
Yeah.
And so we just knew that would be a lifeline for folks that have little expression, no verbalizations. And so we were able to contract with a subject matter expert in music therapy, and we're just starting to roll that program out in February, so we're really excited for that.
Wow.
So we count on them would be an understatement.
And it's good because it kind of keeps everything right here local.
Absolutely.
It's an investment in you all and the local economy and the local
It is for the
businesses
citizens
and
of Charles
absolutely
County
for
and the
citizens.
businesses,
Yeah.
but yes.
Absolutely.
The other thing we do that's, it's not securing additional funds that come in, but we feel like we're a true participant in our county. So if there is another nonprofit in need, whether it's resources or revenue or brainstorming on fundraisers, we're going to be the first ones to raise our hand and say, we'll help you. Mm-hmm. Or if it's a drive they're doing for something, we have a lot of resources through our resale stores. So if there's something we can help them with through a project or something we're doing, we jump right out to try to do that. Also, if they have any volunteer needs, we have a workforce for them for volunteers. And so we do try to match up people that we're trying to get learning experience and opportunities in the community to help volunteer for them as well.
Speaking of volunteers, can the community help? Can the community volunteer?
Oh my gosh, yes, they can volunteer. So they can volunteer in lots of ways. They can volunteer at our resale stores to help us sorting everybody's treasures through the county that come in that we either recycle when we can't use them, or we price to put out on our sales floor, or we perhaps might give to other nonprofits who need. We always can use help there. They can volunteer at our center to help us with our programs there during the day. They can volunteer to help us with our employment placements. They can help us with marketing and fundraising, or if they've got a IT, where maybe they're retired from a IT job and they really want to still get into that, we'll look for volunteers to help us with that. Marketing, just about any venue we would accept volunteers for. We also have several paid positions still open there because workforce shortage, has been an ongoing challenge for us, as it has been for other nonprofits, but also for-profits and businesses. Mm-hmm. Over the last 18 to 24 months have experienced that like no other. So they can also look on our website for actual jobs. Training, if they've been a trainer or like to train. We have particular developmental disability administration trainings that we have to do, CPR, first aid, any of those type standard trainings that people already might be accustomed to, they can come be trainers for us as well.
Wow. So plenty of opportunities. And just check the website. Can you give us the website? And then I'm going to put that in the show minutes too.
springdellcenter.org.
Well, that's pretty easy.
Yep, very easy. Our website is currently under development. There are certain tabs that you can click on, and others say under construction. So we hope to have that finished within the next probably 3 weeks.
Oh, good.
Yep, but they can always call directly. So we don't have an answering machine when you call, which we're very proud of that. We're human service. So you will always have someone who answers the phone and can direct you accordingly.
Very good.
Yep.
One last question.
Sure.
Oh, maybe two. I don't know. What are the challenges that you face?
So our challenge right now that is just right in front of me is a horrific budget cut that was just put out by our governor, Moore, for the field of developmental disabilities across the entire state. Initially, we thought it was $200 million, which is unfathomable, but it's now equating to over $400 million. And so even for Spring Dell Center, that is going to be devastating.
Right.
And so we're working very hard to see how we can retain some of those funds. We all know budgeting is hard, but it's not anything we were expecting to see. So that is front and center for me as the administrator right now, as well as our organization. And then the other challenge probably is workforce, still really trying to build this workforce that is out there for our mission. We feel like we're doing really a lot better in terms of seeing people applying through our recruitment in the last 6 months. So we are in a better place than we were definitely a year ago. But we're really looking for those people who really want to give back to their community, really want to support people. And it's always about choice. It's never about control. It's about choice. What do they want to do? What do they not want to do? How can you help them develop interest?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. One last question.
Sure.
Now we're at the last question.
Okay.
How about you? What about you? What makes you want to do this, to continue to do this? You've said you've been there for a long time.
I have. I think I've always had a love for working with people with developmental disabilities ever since I was a child. I had been around Spring Dell Center when I was a child, and so I don't know, it's just something they say sometimes it's just in your blood. I just love it. I have a passion for it. I love seeing people realize what they can do, and I love watching staff and employees realize it really is about discovering what that person wants, not what we want. And, to have hiccups is okay.
Yeah.
And to have challenges is okay. We all learn by doing things that weren't always right.
Right.
And people with developmental disabilities need that same opportunity. For me, I've loved the embrace that we have felt from Charles County as a community and watching our organization grow. I've had the privilege of watching that growth. This will be my 39th year. And it's just been a very amazing journey, and I can't wait to see where it's still going to go for years to come. It's very exciting.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you so much for
Thank
being here.
you very much.
Donna Retzlaff.
Retzlaff. Very good. Yes.
Yep, very
yes.
good. Brent's working on
Yes.
names.
It's perfect.
Executive Director
perfect.
of Spring Dell Center. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
today.
All right. Thank you.
Remember, local government is the strongest when we all participate. So until next time, stay engaged and stay connected. Thanks for listening. If you like this podcast and want to hear more, search Charles County Government on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. And be sure to like and subscribe. We're also available on YouTube. Search Charles County Commissioners. And stay connected for all county news, information, and programs by visiting www.charlescountymd.gov/stay connected.